Hello, how is everyone? Happy New Year. My name is Lady Calamere. I invite you to my channel, and I am doing my 363rd presentation, and it will be on the Hindu goddess Bahuchara. Have you ever heard of her? Well, she is a goddess who rides a rooster. A rooster is a mount. And here she holds a sword, a trishul, and scriptures of the Vedas or scriptures. So, and here she gives the mudra of Abhaya, which she's given blessings. She is also given the sign of have no fear. This is, here is her temple. Okay. This tree is said to be, and her temple is said to be where the hand of Sati fell when the goddess immolated herself, unalived herself, and Shiva held his wife's body and traveled the world, and things were being thrown out of balance. So the gods had to do something. So Vishnu used chakra, his discus, and had to cut up the body, and where the pieces fell became a temple, a pitha, a Sati pitha. So this is where the hand of the goddess fell. And here we see actually trans women here that were called the Hiraj community, which is considered by some now not to be correct. And but it's still called that. Hidra, sorry, not Hiraj. Hidra community. The Hidra, not Hiraj. Hidra. And what they are is a community of eunuchs and men who are transgendered women. And now she represents, well, we'll get here. There's lotuses here, but now she represents all the transgender community, and not just transgender, but also uh, drag kings, drag queens, LGBTQ. Do you really have to do this, Boo? You really have to make a nuisance out of yourself, right? Every time. Never fails, people. Every time. So she is it doesn't matter what you identify as. You can worship her whether you're heterosexual or not, whether you're a man or woman, transgender or asexual, it doesn't matter. Because here she is saying that, hey, wake up. Because you don't agree with someone doesn't mean they're not my children. They're not the gods and goddesses' children. Okay? They're human. And At one time, you know, some people treated them as if they are less, or that they are dirty, or that they are bad. I mean, even in Bollywood films, they made people like this to look bad and to be villains. I mean, horrible villains. So, and the Hidraj community was facing isolation, abuse, and here we have a goddess that accepts them. So they are considered the third gender throughout India. So, and it can also, she's also the goddess of those men who are impotent, who basically shoot blanks out of themselves, uh, that some people, or, so there's some people are actually born with both male and female genitalia. So those also fall under her patronage. So those who have been born with intersex variations fall under her patronage. So since the late 20th century, the Hijra activists, and they're still called the Hidraj, but some people use it as a way to demean. It was sort of like with calling people pagan and heathen, which now we call ourselves heathens and pagans. And one time calling a woman a witch was not a good thing, but you know, take it with pride now. Yeah, I'm a witch, pagan, heathen, hell yeah. But at one time wasn't, it was used as uh insult. So since the late 20th century, Hijra activists lobbied for official recognition as for them being the third sex, the third gender, neither men, and some are neither man nor woman, and other men want to be women. So now they are eligible for certain types of low paid jobs, and you know get priority in education. Now, even so, we have in India now, in Nepal and Pakistan and Bangladesh have legally accepted it's the third generation, the third gender, not generation, gender. And so Pakistan, believe that? They actually accepted that. And including their gender to be put onto, especially with Nepal, India, and Pakistan, to have them to have on passports and certain official documents. Now, I've talked about this, but I want to talk about the goddess. But I had to talk about this, not because I'm getting political on you, it's because it's important for me to explain that. Her main temple, her only big temple, is in Gujarat. Okay, so the Bahuchara Devi temple is located in Gujarat. She has some minor shrines other places, but the main part of where people from across the world who worship this goddess or who identify as transgender will go to her temple. So it's near Ahmedabad, Gujarat, and there are smaller shrines like they're kept in households. But the only temple I really know of, to be honest, is in the Gujarat, and I think that's the only temple. So her day is Tuesday, and she is a goddess that is prayed to for to have a boy, to have children, for fertility, but also for chastity. She's a goddess of Amhisa, nonviolence. Now you're gonna notice that I have this card here, Ard Anishvar, the divine androgen, and this statue of Parvati and Shiva together, which is this. And I even have one that is half Durga and half Shiva. Because there are people that will take these images and say, yes, we worship this Murti, as they call it, the idol, the Murti, as the goddess Bahuchara. And here it says Sri Bahuchara Ji, that she is victorious. The G means great, victorious, great. Jaya means victorious. So G also deals with that. So people will literally worship her as this. And there's also an image like this where I still have yet to find it. Shiva with half Shiva, half Kali. So I got the half Shiva, half Durga, half Shiva, half Parvati. I got this at Sacred Source. I do recommend their statues. Check out sacredsource.com. I have no I do not have any dealings with them other than being a customer. Now this card I got to give credit where credit is due because that's not fair. The Ardnish Vara is from the Gods and Goddesses Mantra, Blessings, and Meditation card deck by Mandala Publishing. And here the divine and the androgen is she dances to create the world while he dances to wind it all up. She is the mother of the universe. He is its only father. I bow down to Shiva and Shivani. Felicity in married life, raising the Kundalini energy. These are the blessings. Transcendental knowledge of the universal oneness, ability to harmonize opposing viewpoints or forces. And eventually I'm going to be doing a presentation on Ardhanish Vara. So here she rides the rooster, which is male. And she represents the domination of the masculine forces. The original shrine that Gujarat was built around 1152 CE, Common Era. Various rulers, kings, have taken upon themselves the task of the construction and renovation and the upkeep of the temple. And it's absolutely very beautiful, and it's big. It's not this itty bitty place. It's absolutely beautiful white structure. It's beautiful. And people from all parts of any other world come throughout the year to this temple, especially during Navarati. The Nava means nine and Rati means nights. The Navarati festival days, the 9 nights. So this goddess gives blessings to childless couples. And she also purifies, she cleanses people of past deeds that were not so good, or washing out their sins, to get rid of past karmic deeds from whether this life or lives before. They prayed to her that their lives would be better. She's prayed to for prosperity, money, luxuries, and peace, and acceptance, and a world without violence, because she stands for peace and against violence. She's also for those who have been victims of sexual assault or attempted a sexual assault. And I'll get into that. She she helps through all kinds of problems. She removes negative magic, and she casts out evil entities and spirits and bad demonic forces. And her mantra is Om Shrim Bahuchara Matave Namaha. Om Shrim Bahuchara Matave Namaha. She is a goddess about acceptance. She is a goddess about inclusion of all. She's a goddess that is against discrimination. So, for those who have been discriminated upon, have a home with her, regardless whether you are a transgender or not. And that's the thing that's not talked about this goddess, is that, and again, I'm not getting political here, acceptance of all, no matter what color you are. It's not this fake inclusion where you could be anything but this color, or anything but this sex, or anything but this religion. No, she includes everyone. White people have been discriminated from being white. People have been discriminated from being from South Africa. There are people that are discriminated because they're from Mexico. There are people who are discriminated because they're gay or lesbian. So those who have really faced harsh discrimination have a place with her. Doesn't matter. And what she's trying to say and do is saying, stop this shit. You're all people. You're all human. You all come from a mother and father. You know, you're related to the human race. And that she also doesn't want violence upon nature. That everyone is a child of God and goddess. And I'm not saying that she won't kick someone's ass. She will, if she has to. I mean, look at her. Does she look like someone you want to cross in the wrong way? No. Is she approachable? Yes, she is. And a rooster, they fight. They do. They can get pretty rough. And she's on a giant rooster. And you can see the size of the people here and the size of her. Okay, she's not this little itty bitty woman on top of a rooster. So she's a goddess. So yeah. So there are different stories about her and about what she does. And I do hear that roosters, that the sacrifice they do give to her is they do offer her roosters, but other people will offer her only vegetarian stuff. So, gosh, there is so much to discuss about this goddess. So, her day is Tuesday. Her colors are red. Other sources say green, but most sources say red. And red is vitality and life. She manifests as a beautiful, gorgeous lady, very gracious, well dressed in finery, in silks, and she has jewelry. Her soles of her feet and the palms of her hand are decorated and painted with henna. Her offerings, if you choose to worship her: jaggery, which is a type of sugar, Indian sugar; cardamom pods; cashews; watermelons; fruits; brown sugar; uh, dessert ladus, which are like this is made from like cashew flour and sugar and honeys, and it's like in this delicious syrupy sauce. And it's like round balls, the stuff that Ganesha likes, the ladus. He really loves them, so does she. She likes cashews. She really loves cashews. You can't go wrong with chocolate. Ghee lamps, which is clarified lamp candles. You can make a candle out of it or a lamp made out of clarified butter. Yes, you can take clarified butter, make it yourself, and put it into molds and put a wick in, and you got yourself a ghee candle. And it's all natural. Not only does it throw out light to the deities, but it feeds them. And you can rest assured that you're not throwing toxicity into the air. She likes sweets and like brown sugar, or you can give her sugar canes and sweet stuff, delectable sweet stuff, cakes and pies and things to devote to her is what we can put you can put on is the rainbow flag. Seriously, on her altar, the rainbow flag. And it could also be the transgendered flag and the bear community flag. And you'll know, if you know, you know. So, yes, she's accepting of all. She generally condemns the killing of animals. And frequently, her devotees, not all of them, but frequently, they become vegetarians or even vegans. So, you can think about offering her vegetarian dinners too, and vegetarian foods like uh, granolas with fruits and berries and nuts, and uh, go back to your offerings, granola nuts, granola bars, uh, fruit mix, different sweets, whether it's store bought or homemade. And one of the good things is just that you can give her the offerings, right? In Hindu tradition, you give her the offerings and you leave it there for like 15 minutes, even a half hour, right? Then you can eat it as prasad. So it's been blessed by her. So you can offer her the dish and bless it to her. Or after you're done cooking, if you have time, you can keep it warm on the stove and you can call upon whatever Hindu deity and say, here, eat of this. Except for matangi. Matangi is a different thing. Um, because then you eat first and then you give matangi what you've eaten. Uchista, that's what it's called. But anyways, she she sits on a rooster. Not only does it symbolize male power, but also dealing with innocence. And she holds the sword of violence, of war, but also slicing away that is no longer needed. And the trishul, the trident, is something that Shiva holds, and it deals with not only the trinity of powers, but also that of balance of the principle of creation. Okay, it represents knowledge, and she holds the scriptures. She's of the Charana caste, the Charana community, and she was a Sharani. And one of the stories is once there was a violent man named Bapib, yeah, Bapia. And Bapia was a hoodlum. He was a thief. And she was with other people of her caste, and with her sisters. And they have a thing that if they were to be taken alive, they would rather self immolate or unalive themselves. So he was going to grape her, sexually assault her. And what she did was she chopped off her breast. He realized what he had done and who she was. She showed herself and she basically cursed him. And that the only way to really break this curse and to work through it is for him to become transgender, for him to, lop it off, castrate himself. And that he dressed as a woman since then and he worshiped her and he became a devout worshiper of her. So that's one of the stories of how she became. And that's not the only story she shows up in. So Bapia builds her a shrine under the Varakada tree. So that's also the tree too, dealing with her. So she showed mercy and she ordered him to do that. And she proclaimed that if man naturally castrated, emasculated, or emasculated man wearing the woman's clothing, and they praise her and pray to her and worship her, will achieve uh, her blessings and find peace after they they pass away. So that's so he Bapia was a Koli bandit in the Chunval region. So this story of Bahuchara, she she her father was Bapaldan Deta of Karoda, which is Umarkat. Her mother was Deval from Udlan. And this where she lived was around 1309 Common Era. So her father, Bapaldan, was a very renowned and known poet. And so that's one of the things. But you got to understand the Charana practice of unaliving themselves or by ritual mutilation was something they did. And that's what cursed Papia. And to lose his man, so he lost his manhood and became a eunuch. And he had to beg for forgiveness from her because he realized he messed up. Another thing that she also sometimes carries but not in this picture that I can see, is a rosary, a mala. Not the Catholic rosary, but the Hindu rosary, the mala. Her abode is Manidweep, Manidweep. She has other names. She's called Manshri, Devidas, Mepo. She's called Deval Sutta, Betra, Balvi. They even relate to her as Sundari. They call her the Bahura Chara Sundari. I almost said Tripura Sundari, but some people associate her with that goddess as well, which means Tripura Sundari means the beauty of the three worlds. Tripura is the feminine of the three worlds. And Sundari means beauty. They also call her Bala. Uh, Bahuchara means little girl. Bala meaning small girl, little girl. And she's really interesting. I mean, I could have gotten her statue when I was living in Florida. I wish I did, but I didn't. There was one time when I first saw her statue, I was like, I think I know her, but I just walked away from it like a dummy, and I should have gotten it. So she also uh, dealt with the Pandavas. I'm just trying to remember that story. So basically, after the 12 years of exiles that the Pandavas had to do, the Draupadi was married to 5 men, and she spent 1 year with each man. And Arjuna, basically, before the Pandavas proceeded to the kingdom, to their kingdom of Varata, the hero Arjuna was supposed to visit Bahuchara. And there he hid his weapons in a tree full of thorns, which was the Sami tree. And he came to, which became known as, well, he transforms himself into a kilba. So I'm just trying to remember this. And on every Dasara day, this tree is worshipped and known as the Sami Pujari. Would you stop? So we see that she was worshipped there, that she was worshipped. Really? Really, little Bo? So you are really distracting. Little Boo is distracting me. And now I got distracted. I'll get it back. So, anyways, the other stories deal with a king and a queen. And the queen, the king wanted a boy, but she gives birth to a girl. And she told the king that he was a boy, so he dressed this little girl up as a boy, right? So he became uh, the secret. And so later on, he was married off, and the wife found out that it was really a girl, and she was none too happy. She so the father did not know that he had a girl. So so, so I'm just trying to remember how the story goes, but later on they find out that the girl, the man, supposedly was Paul, and the princess that married the prince was none too happy and returned to her mother's home and told the mother what really happened. Okay, and the king's name, who had the child, it comes to me now. Thank you, ADD brain. Raja Raj Singh. That's what I was trying to mean. Okay, Raja Raj, which means King Raj Singh. And this was his only child because he had other wives. And the child he wanted was a boy. And he gets a girl who is dressed as a boy, who they name Tejpal. So she tells her mother what happened. The king tries to find out the truth for himself and sent an invitation to Tejpal to visit them for some food, fun, and games and a good old time. And on this invitation, 400 people all dressed up in ornaments and their best and their finery and everything great, and came to the place of celebration with Tejpal. And the food was being laid out before the king and all the good fun food and everything. And the king of Patan suggested, hey, Tejpal, why don't you clean yourself up, bathe yourself before all this fine dining. And since he was the son-in-law, there was organized a royal bath for him with a not handmaidens, but a male form of that. to clean him of the choicest of men. Tejpal was worried. And he was like, maybe I shouldn't, in the presence of men, being forcibly touched or taken in the bath. So, what he does, he basically jumps on his mare, a red mare, and flees away. Tejpal rides off into the thick, dense forest, the outskirts of the city of Patan. But unknown to him, to her, I should say, a female dog followed him from the kingdom. And when they reached the middle of the forest, it was already late. It was getting dark. Tejpal was thirsty, he was tired and dirty. So Tejpal stops into the lake and pretty much jumps in. He starts, drinking and bathing himself. Well, the female dog jumps in to quench its thirst. The female dog came out as a male dog, right? Out of the water. So, surprised by that, Tejpal sent the mare in, which is a female horse. And the mare comes out as a male horse, right? Out of the lake. So he's like, what's going on? All signs of femininity has been erased. So now he gets out of the lake, and guess what? He's a man. She is now a man, transformed, and he has all the male genitalia. The female genitalia is gone, and he's got a mustache and hair, and now he's truly a man. So Tejpal spent the night there, and the next day he comes back, glorious and all, and he made a mark on a certain tree, the Varaketi tree, which is also on the temple premises. So that's also a tree that represents that. So later on, along with his wives and in-laws, Tejpal went to the Varakati tree and constructed a temple and put the idol of Chara, or Bahura Ji, there. So here we see that she is the giver of masculinity. So there was also a story about how Bahuchara was forced into marriage to marry a prince who never spent any time with her. He never gave her romance. He never did anything with her. And she was sad. And he would always go out into the jungle every night on his white horse. So one night, Bahuchara was bored, kind of sad, you know, feeling again abandoned. So she decided to follow her husband and find out why he never came to make love to her. And she had to keep up with his writing pace because, boy, did he ever write fast. And with her, she took a rooster. She followed her husband into the jungle with a rooster and discovered that her husband decided to take off his manly clothes and dress as a woman and would spend the whole night in the jungle behaving like a lady. Bahuchara was furious. She confronts him. How dare you? Why did you even marry me if you're not interested in a woman? Well, the prince looked at her husband, and begged her for forgiveness and said that his parents forced him into marriage so that his father can have grandchildren. And, so the line can keep going on, the royal line. Bahuchara, there was a where she got mad, and one story said she cursed him, and that and other stories saying which she cursed him to lose any masculinity at all, to lose it, to you know off with your junk, basically. But no, but there's also Bahuchara declared that she would forgive him and others like her husband if they worship her and honored her and prayed to her and dressed as women as they did it. So from that date onward and so forth, people would worship Bahurachara. So she also, believe it or not, is also said to be the bestower of masculinity to those who were deprived of it, to those who were laughed at and, you know, made fun of. But also her symbol, the image of her on a rooster, sometimes can be interpreted as subjugation of male power and subjugation of aggression. And since she's on it, it seems like almost like feminine supremacy, Shakti supremacy, goddess supremacy. So when you look at in a Shakta version, the worship of Shakti can see that the feminine power holds supremacy, is supreme over the masculine power. Uh, Goddess power, woman power, girl power, that she dominates over aggression. So there was another lore where a king prayed before this goddess to bless him with a boy. He wanted a son, so Bahuchara answered. But the Jethro, Jetho, was born to the king, but the boy was impotent. He basically cannot have children. So Bahuchara appeared to Jethro in his dream in order to become a eunuch and dress up as a lady, a female, and become her worshiper. So Jethro did as he was bid, and he worshipped her. So that's just some interesting things about her. How do you feel about her? What do you think about her? See, I support the transgender community. I say as long as you're 18 and over, go ahead, augment your body. That's just how I stand. I don't believe like 16-year-olds, girls should be getting breast implants. Yeah, and augment your body when you're old enough. It's like drinking. I don't want to see, like, you have to be 21 and older, so I don't want to see anyone, I don't want to see minors drink. I don't want to see minors use, you know, that's just me. protect the children. So Bahuchara is an important goddess. I mean, she's not. I mean, to me, she is. I mean, to many, she is. She's not as famously known as the other deities, and but she is slowly coming. She is slowly coming of her own. So, and maybe more and more people will know about her and love her and respect her because I have many transgender friends that I love, you know. And I have one friend who was a man, and I said, you know, I lost a brother and gained a sister, and she's a woman now, and I love her, you know, and I respect her as a woman, and she's a goddess in her own right. Yeah, yeah. So she's she can be and she can act very rageful when she needs to, and very warrior like. So yeah. So anyways, I hope that I did do a good job with this. And I had to print out, get this picture because I didn't have a, a oracle card or anything. But anyways, if you like my video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel to let me know I'm doing a good job. I really hope I did a good job on this. I'm my own worst critic, you know. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of one another. Accept and love yourself. Take care of yourself. Do something special for yourself today. Buy yourself a little something, even if it's only $1. Treat yourself to something special. Treat your fur babies to something special, even if it's just an extra half hour playing with them. We got them a new toy as a little catnip. So today we did something special for our cats. We got them two new toys. So, anyways, thank you so much for watching. As always, blessed be.